Hi there, Jeff here. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you about map scale. Map scale is the relationship between an actual distance on the Earth and the same distance shown on a map. When we take a look at this map here, you'll notice the map scale is shown down here. It's this little line that shows kilometers and miles. It says here that this distance here is about 150 kilometers or about 100 miles. And what that means is that if I take this scale here and move it over to this map here, that roughly this distance here is about 100 miles. What we want to keep in mind is that the distance I'm showing here is only a couple inches, but it represents 100 miles because 100 miles won't fit on a map. Now again, a map scale is a visual representation of a large area of land. The map of the United States may look small on a piece of paper, but in reality, it is thousands of miles wide. To help measure the distance between two locations on a map scale is generally used. This is a map of cities in Minnesota. In the lower right corner of the map, you will see a scale in miles. You can use this scale in two ways. The first is to use a ruler. Measure from one end of the scale to the other. That distance represents 100 miles. To figure out how many miles one point is from another, for instance, St. Paul to Sandstone, it's about the same size as the scale itself. Therefore, those cities are about 100 miles away. Let's take a look at that. If I use the scale here and I line up 0 with St. Paul, you'll notice that 1 inch lands at Sandstone, and our scale there, 100 miles, is equal to 1 inch. That tells us that St. Paul is 100 miles from Sandstone. If you were to measure a distance twice as long as the map scale, say Fergus Falls to Bagley, Minnesota, you would multiply 100 by 2, making the 2 points 200 miles away from each other. Again, that means Fergus Falls is 200 miles away from Bagley, Minnesota. What is the distance between the hospital and the library? To do this activity, you will use the ruler at the bottom here. You'll grab that and pull that up and measure the distance between different points on this map. You may need to rotate the ruler in order to measure the distances. You'll type your answer in these boxes here. And for the last activity, you'll do the same thing with our map of Minnesota. It's going to be a little bit trickier. Again, you'll measure the distance with the ruler here in inches. Once you find how many inches it is from one city to another, you'll multiply it by 100 because each inch roughly represents 100 miles. All right, well, have fun with this, and I can't wait to see your work. Let us know if you have any questions.